I'm just here to speak my mind, I ain't doing no crime. Hey y'all, and welcome back to another episode of Don't Shoot. I'm your host, Kanisha, and today we're going to be talking about. Before we get started today, we're going to start off with a small prayer. Y'all know how we get down over here. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for this time. I'm grateful for this podcast episode. I pray that you come in and invite yourself and speak through me and decrease my flesh and increase my spiritual mind so that I can speak with clarity and I can speak with conciseness to deliver this message. I pray that the viewers listening can get something from this message. I pray that it helps them and it brings a certain awareness to their mind about the issues that we have regarding commitment. We are grateful just to be here to do the things that I love, and that is talk about different topics. Thank you, Heavenly Father, in Jesus' mighty name, amen. Okay, so let's get straight into it. What is commitment? Y'all know I got my handy dandy notebook. You know I got to take my notes. Commitment is the state or quality of being dedicated to a cause or activity. I'm going to say that again. Commitment is the state or quality of being dedicated to a cause or activity. I also have a second definition that I found on commitment: an engagement or obligation that restricts freedom of action. And I went ahead and looked up the definition of obligation for you guys. Obligation is an act or course of action a person is morally or legally bound to. I think it's important to talk about the issues regarding commitment because just like me, I know a lot of other people struggle with commitment. And commitment can show up in many ways in our lives. It's not just relationship. It can show up in our careers. It can show up in our goals. It can show up in our life in general. And I think that commitment is a great way to be successful in any area of your life. So I believe that commitment issues start from a very young age and we're conditioned or unconditioned as we grow up into our adult lives. So we're going to start from the beginning, which is in the home. Parents aren't teaching the importance of commitment. And there are two ways I believe that you can teach a child the importance of commitment. One of them is verbally and one of them is visually. We're going to start with the visible aspect, how parents can be counterproductive in teaching their children the importance of commitment. Many of us grew up in households that didn't have a two-parent household, or maybe you did have a two-parent household, but it wasn't your biological father or it wasn't your biological mother. So that in itself already kind of gives children a skewed perspective of true commitment because we saw that our parents couldn't be committed to each other. For whatever that reason is, all we see is that our parents are separated. So that can have an effect on how we see commitment. Let's say you did grow up in a household with two parents, whether that be your biological parents or not. And let's say that those parents are married. If one parent or both parents commit infidelity, that is another negative way that children get a skewed perspective of what commitment is. Because if you're supposed to be committed to your spouse, but as a child, I see you not upholding that commitment by being faithful to your partner and treating them correctly, it makes me think that commitment is a joke where you have a choice of I'm going to do it today, tomorrow I might not do it. It gives off that lukewarm commitment, just like people have also with their faith. And that leads me to my next point. Another negative way to show commitment to your children is by saying that you're a Christian or whatever faith that you abide by, but you're not fully committed to that faith. You're not fully committed to walking the narrow and straight path that that faith requires. As a disciple, which some people call Christians, I believe that a lot of Christians are lukewarm in their faith. And growing up as a child, if you see your parents, or even if you just see people surrounding you, have a lukewarm faith, you think that commitment is something that you can be fickle with. It's not something that you have to take accountability for and being responsible for your part. Another visible way to negatively impact your children when it comes to commitment is lack of success. If your kids never see you succeeding in anything, if they see you quitting everything, if they see you failing at everything, you're not setting a good example for them for when they grow up and they try to accomplish their goals, because they're going to think that they have the option to quit. And not to say that some things you can't give up if you feel like it's not your lane, but not everything causes for a reason to quit. If your kids never see you sticking to one thing and actually progressing in that thing and growing in that thing, they don't believe that they have to do the same. And it becomes conditioned in their minds slowly as they're looking at you. Your parents are supposed to be your first examples of what you're supposed to be doing in this life. I'm really going to get deep into this last reason and that is failure to commit to parenthood. Some of our parents didn't have us out of love, right? And as children, we know when our parents truly love us, and we know when they love us under a condition that we are their children, we are their responsibility. And I believe a lot of parents who love their kids under the condition that they're my child and they're my responsibility, they don't commit to parenthood fully. They feel like once you get 18, I've done my job here, move out the nest and leave me alone. Being a parent is a lifetime commitment. Being a parent is not just something that you do up until a child becomes 18, because even at 18, I feel that we are still children. We might not be small children like babies or toddlers, but we're still very young in our learning process. And that is not the time to kick your children out and push them out and tell them to figure it out on their own. They don't teach their children anything. They don't pass their children down any information, any knowledge. They don't share their experiences of what they went through in life. They give that, oh, they'll figure it out, I had to figure it out mentality. And I feel like that's counterproductive to, one, a healthy relationship with your child, and to your child being able to commit to things in their life. If you're the kind of parent who feels like all I need to do is provide for my child financially, put a roof over their head, put shoes on their feet, you're doing it wrong. And I feel like because a lot of people have children and don't really understand what it means to be a parent, because they're having kids out of wedlock, or they're having children too early before their time, or they're just having children carelessly, they don't realize what actually comes with parenthood. And by the time they actually become a parent, they resent being a parent, and they just do the bare minimum. And then they want accolades for doing the bare minimum. They want a cookie for it. They want an award for it. They want appreciation for it. When there's nothing wrong with giving your parents appreciation, because we're thankful that they got us to the point that we did get to, because whatever we do go through in life, it makes us who we are today, and we grow from those things. But to put your children above the curve, it is paramount that you love your children from a loving space, from a fact of I love you because I love you, not because I have to take care of you. You're my responsibility. I got to take accountability for the fact that I had sex unprotected, or whatever the case may be. Yes, that's one aspect of it. But loving your kids, truly loving your kids, and really teaching them in every step of their life is very important. A lot of times these parents leave learning up to the school system. A lot of times when your children come home, you're not teaching them any extracurriculum activities. You're not teaching them about real life. You're not teaching them how to garden. You're not teaching them anything that can expand their brain past whatever they're learning in the school system. You're not showing up for your children. If you put your children in a sport, but you don't ever show up to any of the games, what does that mean to a child? Showing up matters. So when you don't show up for your children in every aspect of their life, even after they're 18, when they go off to college, even after they get out of college, going into their early adulthood, you're supposed to be a parent for life. Being a parent never stops until your child's last breath. And I don't think a lot of parents realize that. And that is what causes a lot of tensions between their kids. And failing to commit to your child fully as a parent has negative effects on that child, who will in turn become an adult, and they will struggle with commitment in their life. If you're a parent, or you're thinking about becoming a parent, really analyze and really think about what it means to be a parent. Being a parent means to be a servant. As I grow in my relationship with God, I realize that as God's people, we are called to serve. We're called to serve God. We're called to serve others. We're called to serve people outside of ourselves. And I feel like being a parent is one of those jobs where you serve. You serve your child. And in return, your child will have a time where they will serve you back. But a lot of parents drop the ball on their services to their children because they feel like, I'm tired of being a parent. Ooh, I'll get a break finally. There is no break. Being a parent is a lifetime commitment. And I believe that if more parents were truly committed to their role as a parent, it will help a lot of us stay committed to our goals. And it'll also be a good example for us to stay committed when we are parents. Because yes, as your children get grown, they need less of you, but that doesn't mean they don't need you at all. Because we feel like you haven't committed to being a parent fully, and that you've only wanted to commit a certain amount of your time to being a parent because you never really wanted to be a parent, or you probably didn't want to be a parent in the capacity that it happened. Whatever the case may be, you became a parent. A lot of children, they pull themselves away from their parents' help, even though their parents say, oh, we have your back, we can help you. But you're just saying that out of your mouth when your heart doesn't reflect that you really want to be committed to staying a parent long term. By the way you complain, by the way you help, if you do help. So I just want to point that out. because I think that that's something that people should be aware of and to acknowledge, because it is something that affects people, and then it's a repeat of a cycle. And we generational breakers around here. We generational curse breakers around here. We starting new trends. We starting new healthy habits around here. And next we have the verbal influence of the parent. This can come in the form of your parents not reinforcing to you verbally the importance of commitment. Me, for instance, I'm going to talk a little bit about myself. This has affected me. Growing up, my dad wasn't really as present as he needed to be in my younger years of my life. So I didn't really have my dad to be there to tell me, like, hey, you need to do this, you need to stick to this, you need to, giving you those words of affirmation, building you up, building that characteristic in you. So a lot of times when I was younger, I solely relied on my mother when it came to verbal affirmation. And I don't really believe that my mom ever really gave me those verbal affirmations that I needed. Throughout all of the extracurricular activities that I did growing up, I didn't have a parental figure showing up for me in the stands. I didn't have anybody waving the signs like, that's my baby, screaming up in the stands. I didn't have that kind of support. I remember coming to a place where I just didn't care anymore. Like, because I had gotten so used to people not showing up for me, it got to the point where if they ever did show up, the one or two times that they did, it would just be like, why are they here? That's strange. Like, that's weird. Like, you don't have to be here. It got to the point where it wasn't that I didn't really want them to be there, but like I was cool with them not even showing up because that was my normal. Even though I seen other people's parents showing up for them, I seen other people's parents in the stands, I seen other people's parents rooting for them. I didn't have anybody rooting for me. So that played with my self esteem, and it caused me to feel like I wasn't good enough. So even though I knew I had great potential in a lot of the things that I was involved in, I would quit everything. I would quit because I wasn't perfect at it. I would quit because I wasn't a star at it. And I didn't have the revelation at the time that anything you start, you're not going to start off like Kobe. You're not going to start off like Michael Jordan. You're not going to start off as one of the greats, because it's a learning process. You have to learn and you have to put in that time to get better. But because I didn't have that push, and I don't say this to bash my parents, they probably didn't know that that's something that I needed. They just weren't aware. Maybe they didn't get that, which is understandable. I forgive my parents for the things that they lacked in my life. That in turn had a negative effect on me. But I'm just going to tell my story because this is my truth. Like I said, my dad was around, but he wasn't invested in my life the way that he needed to. And my mother, she would put me in the extracurricular activity. But if I wanted to quit, she let me quit. Be like, no, Pinky, just, don't give it another try. Like, why you don't like it? And, I would just be like, no, I don't really want to do it. And I really wish that there were times where she just made me do it. Like, regardless if I felt like I wanted to do it, regardless if I was going to be upset with her at the time, I really wish that there were times where she just said, no, you started this and you're going to finish it, because I didn't understand the importance of commitment, because I was so easily able to quit everything. And when I say I quit everything, I mean I quit everything. The only things that I didn't quit in my life was I used to step when I was really younger. I loved to step. It was one of my favorite things to do. It just got to the point where we couldn't afford it anymore, and I had to come out of that. And then cheerleading, when I was a cheerleader, when I was younger, I loved to cheer, and I did that up until I couldn't do it anymore. And then later on, I began to cheer again in high school, and that's something that I feel like I did commit to. That's something I saw through. I enjoyed that. So I always opted to do something that was easy. I was scared to do something wrong in front of the audience or do something that would make me look like a fool. I was scared to be humiliated in any way, shape, or form. I always opted to do something that really didn't have any challenges in it. And I feel like that really affected how I act in my adult life. And I really wish that that's something that I would have got a hold of when I was younger, because now it's something that I'm struggling with, but I'm working through it. And with God, I know that soon it will be something that I conquer. Commitment issues have been something that I've been struggling with my whole life. And I know that it starts at home. I know that it begins with my parents, from the things that they lack to do or the things that they lack to instill in me. I just didn't get a proper or a good example of what commitment even really looks like. I remember when I was younger, I didn't have desires to be anything but the norm. I used to tell myself, I just want a 9 to 5. I just want me a good little job that pays good money, and I want to stay out the way. I don't want to be an entrepreneur. I don't want to be famous. I don't want to do nothing extra. Just give me a job that I can do well, and I'm going to get out the way. Now in my life, God is calling me higher. I've never even really had too many 9 to 5s, but I think it's just because God has not put that in me. Anytime I've tried to work a regular 9 to 5, it's just like, no, no. Is there more to life? Like, I can't do this. So I firmly believe that God wants me to be an entrepreneur. And although it's something that I'm accepting now, I didn't accept it back then because I was cool with just being in the background. I was cool with just being regular, being average, because that's what I saw in my environment growing up. Average people, average community. Now that I'm older and I have a mind of my own, I realize how much I don't want to be average. I realize there is no accountability in being average. There is no real commitment in being average. There is no real reward for being average because most people are average. And being above average and being even superior and great and wonderful and all those great things really require a level of commitment from all of us if we want to be more than average. And I feel like most of us are running away from that commitment because we're cool with easy mode. We don't want it hard. I hated doing anything hard. I want the easiest way to make an impact, the easiest way to get it done. I want to get it done. I know I could have been a straight A student. Like, I know I could have been valedictorian if I wanted to. I know I really could have excelled in anything that I touched, anything that I joined, but I settled for being average. I didn't want to commit to doing the hard thing. I didn't want to commit to failing. I didn't want to commit to everything that comes with actually being great. And now that I'm older and I have control of those things, I'm really trying to understand and come to terms with what it really means to commit, because I've had commitment issues for so long and God is continuing to work on me. This is the time in my life where it's done. Like, there's no more excuses. There's no more waiting. There's no more crying. There's no more whining. It's time to commit. It's time to get dirty. It's time to grind. It's time to put in that work. It's time to elevate. Because if I'm gonna be a child of God, you think God want average children, the most high? And I know that sounds harsh, but that is why God transforms us. That is why God renews our mind. That is why God works on us while we're here. He don't work on us so that we can stay average. God wants superior people on his team too. And he's calling me out of that averageness. He's calling me out of that lack of commitment. Stop quitting everything, Kanisha. Stop starting stuff and then not finishing it because it's not going your way. Stop quitting because you're not getting instant gratification. It doesn't work like that. But because I have been doing it my whole life and getting away with it, it has become a habit. It's really like an addiction almost. I've gotten by on it so long that I keep trying to get by doing it that way. But in this season of my life, I feel like we should come to terms that if you don't commit, you don't win. If you're not trying to reach for the stars or beyond the stars, or if you're not doing the best or better than your best, what is winning for real? You didn't really try. I don't want to be this way anymore because it has really caused a lot of delays in my life. It has caused a lot of stress in my life. And I feel like it is something I've been trying to overcome. The first time I tried to overcome it is when I got out of high school. I went to the military. I didn't know nothing about the military for real. I really didn't. But I knew that I was going to be self sufficient. I wouldn't have to depend on my parents. I'd be making my own money. I wouldn't have to go to college where I probably would be distracted and they probably would have turned me out over there because I was very innocent. In high school, I didn't lose my virginity until like the end of my senior year. I hadn't been drinking then. I hadn't smoked yet. I wasn't exposed to any of that stuff yet. I was a goody two shoes. So I just felt like if I went to college, they was going to dirty me up. So I'm like, let me go to the military because I was trying to take control of my life. So I'm like, I'm going to go to the military because I know it's guaranteed that when I sign them papers, I can't come up out of it. It's an agreement. It's a contract. It's a commitment, a 4-year commitment. That was my first attempt at trying to really commit myself to something because I'm like, I always quit everything hard. I can't quit this. I have to see it through. And I did, but I was miserable. I was miserable. I learned a lot. It disciplined me a lot. But I think that it also had a negative effect on me because when I got out the military, because I was forced to do things that I didn't want to do for so long, I went haywire. I got out. I got tattoos. I got piercings. I just started smoking, drinking. I just was having a ball. I'm like, I'm free. I'm free. No more people holding me down. No people controlling me, telling me what to do, what I can't do. I was just ready to get up out of there. And looking back, I regret that I did it that way. I wish I would have stuck with the discipline that I had gotten while I was in the military and I would have opened a business or I would have invested my money better. When I got out of the military, I got an LLC. I tried to do Amazon FBA. Started it, realized how hard it was, realized how much time it was going to take, realized how much I needed to learn, and then I quit. I never went back to it. Wasted my money. When I tell y'all, I had spent thousands of dollars of getting training. I had signed up for this course, this group, all of this stuff, and still to this day, it's sitting there collecting dust. I never did it. One, because I just felt like I'm not even passionate about this. I felt like I was just doing it because I'm like, oh, I'm gonna make a lot of money. But I didn't want to put in the work that it took to make the money. Like, Kanisha, you can't. This is not how life works. It's not how life works. But that's okay because it's gonna be a part of my testimony how I fell down, but I'm gonna get back up. Oh, this comeback is something serious. I'm taking it very, very personal. It's something that I know needed to happen. It's all a lesson in everything that I failed at or everything that I did. But I also want to say that I felt like I did a lot of that stuff on my own. Like I said, I didn't have nobody encouraging me to start a business. I didn't have nobody telling me, yeah, invest your money, do this, do that. And it's just because my parents didn't really have that knowledge either. It wasn't passed down to them. And so because it wasn't passed down to them, I didn't really even have people around me who had that mindset either. I was hanging around people who was doing what I was doing, or started doing what they was doing, which was nothing. Partying, having fun, living life. I'm fun. Let's live it up. YOLO. You only live once. When that mindset right there will keep you delayed. That mindset will keep you in your 30s looking like, dang, where did the time go? I missed so much. Now I gotta build my life up in my 30s because I just want to have fun in my 20s and just spend all my money. Looking cute, looking good, going to the clubs, whatever the case may be. So I'm here to bring y'all awareness for people who might be my age, people who might be in their younger 20s, people who even in their 30s, that the time is now. The time to start committing is now. I know I veered off the topic, but I want to continue talking about the verbal ways that parents fail to teach commitment. So, one of those ways is when they tell you to figure it out. I believe that parents don't realize how much of a disservice that they do to you when they tell you figure it out, or they have that mentality of they'll learn. I learned. We're not supposed to just be learning from zero. We're not supposed to just be learning from scratch. Like, just because you figured it out don't mean I'm supposed to be out here figuring it out. I remember when I went and got my first car. Nobody didn't tell me about cars for real. My mom told me a little piece, but I really learned about credit and most of that stuff on my own by going through it. And I feel like when parents don't pass down the knowledge, it affects your children. That is the point of being a parent, for you to pass down the knowledge to get your children ahead of the curve, to get your children ahead of where you were at, not for them to go through the same struggles that you went through and hope that they come out all right. You can't tell your kids, oh, yeah, they'll figure it out. Life will show them. That's so counterproductive. I'm a strong minded individual, but not everyone is a strong minded individual. So when some people are left to figure it out, they might spiral out. They might not be able to handle that. They might go left trying to figure out whatever it is they're trying to figure out. So as parents, you need to verbally be helping your children explore from an early age what it is that they want to do, and then making them commit to that. Help them figure out what their passions is. Don't just wait for them to tell you, hey, mommy, put me in this. They don't know what they want to do. They see other kids doing it. They think they want to do it. And that's okay if they do inquire about certain things. But as parents, you're supposed to be helping your children explore what it is that they want to do and helping them to commit to that, helping them to come to a success in that. And not just being successful in something that you put them in, but being successful in something that they actually love. I see this way too often. I see a lot of young men who are in sports because everybody want to put their kids in sports. If you have a little boy, they want to put them in soccer, they want to put them in basketball, they want to put them in football. Y'all don't even ask the kids if that's what they want to do. Y'all just be like, yep, my son gonna be a football player. Don't even care to ask the children what it is that they want to do. You're putting your children in something, making them succeed in it, or making them do something that they don't even really want to do. And by the time they get older, they realize, wow, I've been doing this for my parents. I've been doing this for everybody else. And then everybody looking at you to be the breadwinner. Everybody looking at you to take them out the hood, when you never even liked doing what you was doing. You just did it because you're good at it. Just because you have the potential to be good at something doesn't mean that it's something that you have to do. A lot of us are multi-talented. Doesn't mean you have to be great at everything. Be great in something that you love. Me going to the military, it wasn't the right thing to be committing to because I hated the military. And even though I committed to it and I got through it, whew, baby, the trauma, the trauma. What's important about committing is being committed in an honest way. There's a lot of ways you could be committed to something in a dishonest way. A few things that I wrote down that I believe are negative things to commit to. The first thing that I wrote down is drugs or substances. A lot of us are committed to drinking and smoking. You will spend your last $30 to get an eighth, but you ain't got no career lined up. You don't got no investments. You don't have anything lined up to better yourself and your lifestyle in the long run. That used to be me, babes. Babe. Let's just say I ain't had no money. I was gonna have money for that eighth. Oh, I was gonna have money for that eighth. If I had to go scramble it up, I was gonna have money for that eighth. I needed that. I was committed to getting high. I was committed to feeling that buzz. For some people, it's drinking. Some people, y'all are committed to drinking. Y'all going to brunch every single weekend. Every single weekend, y'all partying. Y'all are drinking, getting drunk, getting towed up at the clubs, at the house. Y'all can't have no events without drinking. Y'all committed to having a drink. You have to have it. You have to have it. Another thing I wrote down is money. A lot of people are negatively committed to money. It's nothing wrong with getting to the bag. But when your intentions for getting to the bag is by using people, exploiting yourself. For women, y'all are out here giving up y'all bodies, exposing y'all bodies, defiling y'all selves for a check, for a lifestyle. A lot of these IG baddies, y'all are committed to the money so much that y'all don't even care if y'all men cheat on y'all. Y'all have given up monogamy for the fact that, okay, well, I'm going to be taken care of. There are women who literally have a baby just so that they can be committed to having a child with somebody who has money so that they can have a certain lifestyle. That's a negative way of commitment because you're committing yourself to a baby that you didn't create out of love. You created for the sole purpose of contributing to a type of lifestyle that you want to live. And then you use the baby as a prop. Use the baby as leverage to get what it is that you want. There's other people who make money just so y'all can flex on everybody. You can ride around in the fanciest cars. You can have a Birkin bag. And there ain't nothing wrong with having nice things. But if your whole purpose of trying to make money is so I can flex on people, you got the wrong idea. Because who you trying to impress? The competition should be you versus you. You can look good doing it, but if your sole purpose is I want to flex on someone, you need to take a look in the mirror. There's people who take up certain careers. For example, there are people who are working as nurses, knowing that they hate it, knowing that it's taking a toll on their mental health, but they'll commit to it because the money's good. You ever seen those movies where the fathers are really, really rich, but they never home with their kids? They're always working. They're workaholics. If you have to work to that extent and commit to work to that extent to the point where you can't see your family, you can't enjoy the money that you're making because you're always at work, then what is the point of working? What is the point of committing to the money? Because at that point, you're giving up a vital part of yourself to be a slave to money. I don't want you to be committed to nothing that you hate. Be committed to things that you love because there's so many things that we love to do, or there's so many things that we can excel in. But just because something is a lot of money doesn't mean that you have to be doing it. Next point, I said material things, which I kind of just explained that the money and the material things. Y'all are so committed to getting material things because you want to be validated. You want other people to look at you and validate you. It's supercilious. You think that you're above other people because you got more material things than them. And really, material things is really perspective. To pay $2,000 for a purse is crazy to me. I don't care how much money I got. I personally, with the mindset that I have now, and I'm glad God has humbled me and God has put me in a position to think the way that I think, so that when I become a millionaire, when he gives me the wealth that he's going to assign to me, I won't be spending it frivolously, and I won't just be spending it on things that are irrelevant. And I kind of spoke about this already. I'm going to elaborate a little bit on this because it blows my mind how y'all play with children and think that it's okay. God is not pleased with that stuff. Y'all don't think that God look at the intentions of your heart when y'all are having these kids? Having a child because you want to trap somebody, or you want a particular man or woman to be your baby daddy, or because they have good this and they got good money and they look good, or whatever your reason is, that ain't for the sole reason of we're creating this baby out of love and I want to raise a healthy, civilized human being. I want to be able to teach them things. I want to be able to pour into them so that they can go out into the world and be a positive impact and a positive change on the world. I want God to be proud of the generation that I'm leaving behind. If that is not your mindset for having a child, you don't need to be having a child. Your reason for having a child shouldn't be because, oh, I need somebody to love me. A child loving you, that's not a child's problem. It's not a child's problem that you have low self-esteem and that you don't love yourself. That's not their job for you to bring them into the world so that you can get somebody to love on you, because all the men and all the women that you was involved with, they didn't love you correctly. You should not be having a child because, oh, they're so cute, I got baby fever. You just want to dress your child up like a little prop and then don't realize that these children turn into adults. They won't be little cute babies forever. Or you want to have a child because you want to secure the bag with somebody. Are y'all crazy? These are living beings. These are living beings. And y'all are just having them like they're candy, popping them out like they're candy, with no regard about how the children will feel about your situation. Not even giving these children a fair chance at the opportunity to see a two-parent household with two loving people committed to each other and loving and growing. Y'all steal commitment away from children before they can even come here and learn anything about what commitment is. Y'all not even married, y'all having kids. IG my idols, IG baddies, these celebrities, y'all just picking somebody. Ooh, basketball player, let me have a baby by them. Ooh, soccer player, he got some money, let me have a baby by him. What? Y'all are crazy. And y'all gonna have to answer to that. I hope that a lot of y'all watch this video and that y'all go to God and repent, because you're gonna have to take an account for that. We're all gonna have to take account for our sins, but that's one of the ones that I don't think people talk about a lot. And lastly, negative commitment is sin in general. Any type of sin. We ain't supposed to be committed to sin, but a lot of us, I used to be, are committed to sinning. Whatever sin that is, whether that's fornicating, being homosexual, smoking, drinking, partying, murdering, killing, cheating, stealing, robbing, cursing, whatever sin it is, we are committed as a generation, as a society, to committing sinful acts and not repenting, not even feeling bad about it, not even feeling sorry. I'm young, I'm turned, I could do whatever I want. I should be able to do whatever I want. I should be able to have the freedom that I want. When what did it say about commitment? An engagement, an obligation that restricts freedom of action. And I believe that when it says an obligation that restricts freedom of action, doesn't mean you don't have no freedom, but it means that you need to think about the thing that you're going to do and how it's going to affect other people, because you cannot commit to something that only involves you. Everything that we commit to, it involves somebody else in some way, shape, or form, in some type of capacity, whether that's goals, relationship, projects, anything. I thought, and a lot of us think that, oh, if I don't commit to being successful in my life, that's just me. If I drop the ball on myself, then that's just me. But no, if you drop the ball, then you're leading a bad example for the ones coming behind you. If you drop the ball in the generational curses that need to be broken, then somebody else has to pick up your slack. In every way that you don't commit or you fail to commit, it is hurting more than just you. And that's something that I've learned. So pick up your pack. But we do have some positive commitments that I wrote down that I think that we should all be invested in. The number one thing that we should be committed to, which should be a no-brainer, is God. Hey, don't shoot me. I'm just a messenger. But the main thing we should be committed to is God. I believe that if we learn how to be committed to God in entirety, and we give God our full yes, and we give God our full surrender, we won't have no problem with committing to nothing else in our life. And that's where I'm at in my life. I'm learning how to fully commit to God, and God is teaching me how to commit through committing to Him, because commitment starts with repetition, doing it over and over and over until it becomes a habit, instead of not committing and not committing being a habit. And then in turn, you have commitment issues like I do. So committing to God will allow you to be able to commit to any other thing in your life, because God has a standard. God has rules. He has obligations that restricts freedom of action. Yes, God gives us freedom, but he has standards. He has morals. He has things that he wants us to abide by. He has rules that he wants us to commit to because he knows what's best for our lives. He wants us to commit to his word, but he also wants us to commit to having a relationship with him. If you can have a relationship with God, you can have a relationship with anybody because you truly understands what it means at the highest degree, at the highest level, what it means to have a commitment. Because having a commitment is probably the hardest of all because you can't see them. You don't physically see God walking around here. Well, you do because everything in this reality is God manifested in the physical form. But I mean, like the one true spirit of God, you don't see God down here. So it's hard to commit to something that you cannot see, which is why faith is something that God requires of us because we have to believe and have faith that God will provide and protect and teach us and mold us and be there for us even though we can't see them, even though we don't know what they're doing behind spiritual doors. And sometimes it's hard to commit to God because the things that we're so accustomed to doing, which is sinning, a lot of people don't have God instilled in them from a young age. So they get out here and they've seen so much and they've been conditioned into sinning that when you come to God, you got to give up them sins. And you're like, I ain't really ready to stop drinking. I ain't really ready to stop smoking. I like sleeping around. I like doing this. I like to do that. And you know that you can't come to God and just continue to do those things. I mean, you can, which a lot of people do, but that is called being lukewarm. If you are a lukewarm disciple, God does not honor that. He does not honor your lukewarmness. In the Bible, it says, I would rather you be hot or cold. God would rather you be sinful and leave him alone or be all the way on fire for him. That's what he requires. He loves us, so he's patient with us and he's gracious with us and he takes his time waiting on us. But there's gonna come a time where he's not going to wait. He's giving the warnings, he's giving the grace, he's giving the mercy, he's giving the time. So committing to God is the greatest commitment because it's hard because most people in the world are not following God. So it's hard to commit to something when everybody else is doing the opposite. It's so much temptation, it's so much negative influence around you, and it's so many people who claim to follow God and who aren't truly following God. So that leads you to feeling lonely. That leads you to feeling like, dang, it's hard. It leads you to feeling like no one understands me. But it's worth it because I don't look, hey, this is ghetto. I don't want to be down here. I say it every day. I tell God every single day. And I pray that he don't take me away before my time, before I complete the things that I want to say, regardless of me saying that. But I don't want to suffer here and in my afterlife. I always say that I don't want to suffer here and in my afterlife, baby. I want to be in heaven. I want to be up there eating good fruit. I want to be walking the streets of gold. I want to have a mansion. I want to be floating around. I don't want to get old and crusty. When you get to heaven, you won't get old. Do right while you're down here. You don't got to worry about getting the BBL, getting the breast lift, getting the skin removal, all of that. None of that. In heaven, we're going to be perfect, babe. Holy and acceptable. Having a ball, worshiping the Lord and just communing with him and communing with each other. We're going to have a ball. So God does not desire to have lukewarm relationships with us. God wants us to marry him. Y'all know what I mean by that, so don't get weird. He wants to be in a marriage, locked in for life. Ain't no switching up. But a lot of us are teetering because we don't want to be accountable, responsible for our part. When it's hard, when it's good, when it's bad, when it's sad, when it's up, when it's down, commitment is through and through. I'm going to say yes. I'm surrendering. I'm giving my yes no matter what. So it's God first and then marriage next. A lot of y'all, the reason why y'all in relationships instead of marriages is because y'all lukewarm. You don't want to deal with the repercussions that come with if I don't do that. What if I don't feel like it today? Commitment is an everyday choice. You have to choose. I'm going to do this every day. God doesn't even honor relationships. I just want to put that out there because a lot of y'all, I keep saying it and y'all keep ignoring it. If you are really a follower of God and you know that God doesn't honor relationships, why are you still in a relationship? Y'all done been together how many years and y'all still in a relationship? Y'all done had a baby and y'all still in a relationship. When is the marriage going to come into play? A lot of y'all are running from marriage. And I don't think it is even so much the women running for marriage. I don't think a lot of women are running for marriage. Yeah, there are some, but there are more men running away from marriage than there are women, because the men's are the one who's supposed to ask the woman for their hand in marriage. But I don't see a lot of men asking the woman to marry them. Y'all done had a baby and been in a relationship. How can you commit to a baby, which is a lifetime commitment, but asking someone to be your spouse forever, that's too much. Why? Because you don't want to be accountable to be married to one person. You still want to trick off. Just be honest. Just be honest. Men know from day one if they want to marry you. It don't take 2-3 years and having a stable life and all of that. You don't have to have your whole life together to get married. Married is a commitment that no matter what we go through, we got each other back. We locked in. You my person, I'm your person. Whatever go, we down. You might ride or die till the end under God. Because God is our first commitment. And then we committed to each other next. If y'all don't have God's honor and commitment over y'all life, y'all relationship is nothing. Y'all are wasting time in these relationships if you don't have any intentions on getting married, especially if you having children. If you're in a relationship and your person is pregnant, there's no reason why you shouldn't be rushing to get married. I mean rushing. You should be getting married before that, but I mean rushing. It don't take more than a year to know you want to marry somebody. More than a year, you don't talk to me. I'm at the place in my life, I'm a wife, babe. I'm not a girlfriend. I'm not playing these games. If you come into my life and you don't want to get married, don't even play with me. You got about 3 to 6 months to know if you want to marry me. And you got about a year to propose. I'm not pressing. I ain't saying you have to do it at this particular time, but I'm only giving whoever the next man that comes into my life a year to propose. But really, if he's a man of God, he gonna do it before then, because God don't honor relationships. You can court, and you know what court means? To be involved romantically, typically with the intention of marrying. Courting means dating, getting to know somebody, becoming their friend with the intention of marrying. So a lot of y'all in relationships, but the Bible don't say nothing about boyfriend and girlfriend. The Bible don't even say nothing about relationship. You're supposed to court with each other, which means be friends, which means not having sex, getting to actually know somebody, spending time, finding out what they like, finding out what you like, finding out if y'all are compatible, building a friendship, a foundation built on friendship, and then going to God and saying, hey, I think this person is the one. And then y'all both consult God, and then y'all come back together and say, yes, we're going to get married. Why y'all running from marriage? Because the truth is, a lot of y'all don't want to be faithful. Even if y'all being faithful right now, what's the point of being in a relationship and not getting married? Because you want the opportunity to be there just in case. Because cheating on somebody while you're in a relationship ain't nothing compared to cheating on somebody when you married. Because when you married, oh yeah, you're going to have to answer for that. God don't play about that. That's why y'all don't want to tap in. Y'all don't want to tap in. Y'all don't want to be fully committed. Y'all don't want to do what it takes to actually be married. A lot of y'all suck as partners. A lot of y'all not even good partners. I don't care how long you've been together. I've seen a lot of relationships that are trash, that have been together for a long time. Longevity does not mean that it's good. Just because y'all been together 5 years, 6 years, don't mean that y'all relationship is a good relationship. It can be as toxic as ever. But some of y'all just committed to the idea of love. Y'all committed to toxicity. But y'all not committed to actually being in a healthy, thriving relationship and what that actually takes and what that actually looks like. It starts with God first. But because a lot of y'all don't have God, that's why y'all don't feel the need to get married. And y'all got a lot of influences of people who y'all idolize and look up to who aren't getting married. Some of your favorite celebrities, they making y'all think that, oh, what's the rush? We taking our time. Y'all ain't take y'all time when y'all had that baby. And I blame the women too. Women, y'all need to be putting the pressure on these men's neck. You gonna marry me or I'm gonna leave? Which one? You gonna take me seriously or we not finna have anything? Y'all need to be applying pressure to these men. You're not finna take all my youth. You're not finna take all my years and then leave me with a baby. And then I gotta start all over. Don't wait till it's too late. If a man hasn't thought about marrying you, I promise you, I don't care how young, how old, he don't want you. He does not want you. And you shouldn't even want a man who doesn't have God at the head of his life anyway, because it's going to fail. I'm going to give y'all an example. One of y'all favorite couples, Tiana Taylor and Iman Shumpert. A lot of y'all favorite couple, y'all like, oh my God, I had high hopes for them. I was really rooting for them. I loved them. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. They broke up. Da, 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 da. You know why they broke up? You know why it didn't work? Because God wasn't at the center. And I can tell you that because of the industry that they're in. I don't need to know their life, y'all, because I know that's what y'all gonna say. You don't know them people in real life. I don't need to know them in real life to see God. God is visible. When somebody has God in their life, it's visible, baby. It shows up. It shines through. They didn't have God at the center of their relationship. So it don't matter how cute you look, what relationship you got, what status you got. If God is not at the center of y'all relationship, it is going to fail. Eventually, it's going to fall. It's going to fall. Y'all not going to make it. I don't care. You cannot make it without God. You cannot think that you're going to make it in marriage, in anything, without God. The failure is going to come. It might not come right away. So people might think, oh yeah, that's my favorite couple. They've been together 10 years. And then at the 15-year mark, you see them getting divorced. Oh my gosh, I didn't even see that coming. Of course you didn't. Of course you didn't. I did. I always see it coming when people don't got God in their life. When people don't got God, I mean, truly married to God. I don't mean, oh, I know God and I go to church sometimes and I just say, thank you, God, on the stage for the reward. I mean, really walking with God, upholding God's principles. Married to God, committed to God, not lukewarm, committed. Let me continue on these positive commitments. I also put goals. Being committed to your goals is a positive way of being committed because you can't accomplish anything if you quit everything like me. Please, if you started, finish it. If you started, finish it. I don't care if you feel like I don't like it no more. At least finish it and move on to something else. Because that will build up your confidence. It'll build up your commitment habits to see everything through. Whether you like it, don't like it, see it through. Because me, even if I liked it or didn't like it, baby, I got tired and I tapped out every single time. But we're changing in this lifetime. Thank you. Integrity. Commitment. I mean, you have to have integrity to commit because you have to be able to commit when nobody's watching you but God. When nobody's around, are you doing what you're supposed to do? Off screen, off camera, are you doing what you're supposed to do? If you're going to commit to anything, do it honestly. You're not going to get away with doing something unhonestly or with corrupt intentions. It's going to show and it's going to come out. Everything that's done in the dark is revealed in the light. So it'll catch up to you. So just do everything with integrity, even when nobody's watching, even when you don't feel like it, even when you're like, like I don't want to do this. Keep going, keep pushing. It'll be worth it. You'll get better and you'll get stronger. Your morals and your standards. Those are things that you should be committed to. Women, I'm calling y'all out. Be committed to your standards. We're not having sex till marriage. So uphold that standard. You can't talk to me till you take me on a date. Uphold that standard. Whatever your standards is, uphold your morals, uphold your standards. Your morals, as in, don't be giving up your body to anybody. Don't be giving your body up for money. Don't feel like it's that low and it's that bad and there's no other way. Okay? It's not that deep. You don't have to do it. I know sometimes times get desperate, but you don't have to do it. Keep your integrity. Keep your moral standards high. Please. The last two positive commitments that I listed were health. You can never go wrong when you're committed to your health because your health is your wealth. Okay, baby? It don't matter how much money you got in the bank if that money can't help you get off this disease. Okay? It don't matter how much money you got in the bank if you lose your leg. Okay? No matter how much money you got in your bank if you're not taking care of your inside. And I mean exercising and eating healthy and putting good things in your body. Which means being sober. Ain't nothing wrong being sober. Sometimes I still hate being sober, but I'm trying to get over that because I'm turning over a new leaf. It's hard to be committed to the lifestyle that God wants me to live. But hey, it's a choice. But I do want to say that being committed to exercising can have negative effects if you're not doing it for the right reason. Some people are exercising or working out and being bodybuilders because y'all want to be idolized. I don't think a lot of people realize the self-idolization that happens with y'all wanting everybody to see how big your butt is and how big your biceps is. And like you want people to glorify you in the comments, like, oh my gosh, I want my body like that. Oh my gosh, you got my dream body. Oh my gosh, you got my goal body. And then y'all get addicted to admiration. You get addicted to the accolades. You get addicted to people idolizing you and worshiping you for what your body looks like. And then in turn, you're not really exercising for your health. You're exercising for the validation that you get from having your body so sculpted. So be careful of that. Last one is self-improvement. Commit to self-improving always. To the end of your life, you're going to be improving, you're going to be growing. I mean, unless you're not, because some of us stay the same and some of us stay stagnant and never grow. But if you really want to have a happy and fulfilling life, continue to improve at every step, every stage in your life, and commit to improving. Don't stay the same. You don't got to stay in a box. You don't got to be one thing your entire life. Pivot around, move around. The only thing that's constant in this life is change in time. Time is constantly changing. I can't get the 5 seconds that I just did. I can't even get 30 minutes to go back. So continue to improve, you guys, and don't be afraid to commit. Committing is a rewarding thing, and you get what you put out. So I hope that this shined a light on some things. I hope that this will help you guys. It did help me. I'm still working on it. We're going to work on this stuff together. Committing is hard, y'all. I just want to let y'all know it's a fight. It's an everyday fight. But we're going to continue to press forward and we're going to keep God first. I hope you guys have a blessed day. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.